I wish our topic can attract your attention. My topic is benefit sharing of the biomedicine research results based on genetic resources. Genetic resources are important sources of the medical treatment method and medicine. So, the precondition of modern biomedicine technology lies in its dependence to some degree on genetic resources. Above all, I will introduce the general situation of genetic resources relating to biomedicine study in China. China is one of the countries with the most biological diversity in the world. According to the statistics, China has nearly 30,000 species of high plant and ranks the third in the world. In China, there are 6,347 species of vertebrates, which account for 14% of world vertebrates. Therefore, it's quite important to establish a powerful system which regulates access to genetic resources and fair and equitable system. Afterwards, let us look back the national law in China over this problem. So far, in China, only few provisions in different laws concern the principles of access and using of various genetic resources, such as Forest Act, Seed Law, where most contents of above provisions are regulation of genetic resources and matters of benefit sharing are scarcely provided, especially the blank legislation of access to microorganism and benefit sharing. With respect to the regulation system of access to genetic resources of animals and plants and microorganisms and benefit sharing, the inspection and administration system adopted in China is the integrated inspection of environmental protection department and respective responsibility of each department. Such system can also be deemed as the regulation system of access to genetic resources and benefit sharing. In addition, in order to actively fulfill provisions in CBD, China set up Work Coordination Institution for China's fulfilling CBD, the Joint Ministry Conference on Biological Resources Protection and Expert Committee of National Biological Resources Protection. With respect to access to human genetic resources and benefit sharing, China enacted ordinances of Human Genetic Resources Administration in 1997 and inspection ordinances of biomedicine research ethics concerning human beings in China in 2007, but it's a trial implementation. But I think the lowest legislation can affect our government's goal in this over this problem. And the trial implementation basically forms the special law authorities and regular administration system according to the spirit of relevant international convention. Lastly, we will put the emphasis on seeking an effective mechanism system of genetic resources benefit sharing. Firstly, we will look at the procedure terms of genetics. Board guidelines incisively generalized the basic principles of the design of prior informed consent. In this connection, China established the basic framework that China home genetic resources administers technology and the Ministry of Health. It is approval department of genetic resources on the country level, and the health department on the provincial level are the local responsible department with no clear participation function. The approval procedure should have 4 steps as follows. After original inspection, above departments should be in charge of organizing their agreement in written form, and the last one, the national administrative departments are in charge of final approval and issue license certificates. As to prior informed consent of human genetic resources, an approval procedure should be added into about 4 steps. Its particularity is that independent, multidisciplinary, and multivariate ethic community should be established to be in charge of ethic inspection. So, in 2007, inspection ordinances of biomedicine research ethics concerning human beings provides 3 different levels of ethic community with different inspection duties as follows. Community of medicine ethics is experts established by Ministry of Health, local advisory institution of ethic inspection guidance established by Municipal Health Administrative Department, and institution ethic community set up by those institutions which carry out biomedicine research concerning human beings, and the relevant scientific practice include medical health institutions, research institutions. The former 2 communities mainly deal with important ethic problems, make policy advisory, and organize the ethic inspection of important scientific projects. The latter ethic community is in charge of the major approval duties, while the biomedicine research concerning human beings and relevant scientific application projects and the jurisdiction of the above community or affiliated institution are subject to its ethic inspection and supervision. Besides, the above inspection ordinances of biomedicine research ethics concerning human beings clearly provides that obtaining the agreement of parties concerned in written form is the necessary condition, and a person's consent has an unconditional right of withdrawal. The core content of prior informed consent system is that the applicants have the obligation of disclose information, and we believe that the necessary information should include information of applicants, plans of access to genetic resources, estimation of risk, ethic effect, and preventative measures planned, interested related parties, possible benefit, as well as sharing plan, and so on. Secondly, we will talk about substantial systems of genetic resources benefit sharing concerning biomedicine research results, the mode of mutual agreed terms. With respect to forms of mutual agreed terms, CBD and Bonn guidelines both clearly provide the only choice, that is, benefit sharing agreement in a written form. Relevant department of government where genetic resources locate as the party of genetic resources provider in in a benefit-sharing agreement tend to be balanced powers of two parties participating in negotiation and form the channel of interest, the redistribution from government to interested related parties. Besides, liability of genetic resources is also important. In general, in China, the legislation and practice in this field are in accordance with the international system step by step, but still need further improvement. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Can we have one from
about the main barrier for benefit sharing in medicine related to the data collected by the private sector, the drug companies. And I'm active in the field of research of pharmacogenetics, and I believe that pharmacogenetics has a large potential to improve both the safety and the efficacy of medicine, so the drugs can be much more effective and safer. These kind of studies require a very large number of participants, thousands, not hundreds, and it's beyond the capacity of the academic sector to make such studies, with few exceptions. And most of the data, at least in the West, in the area of pharmacogenetics, is in the hand of drug companies in the private sector. Now, 4 months ago, there was a meeting on pharmacogenomics at Chicago, sponsored by the NIH, and I presented during this meeting about the need to promote data sharing from the private sector to deposit the data from clinical trials, the pharmacogenetics data, in public databases, which are existing. But in such databases, such as PharmJKB and Stanford University, all the data currently comes from academics and not from the private sector. Now, the feedback that we had during this meeting from companies like GSK that were present was that they are willing, scientists in these companies are willing to share data from clinical trials, the genetic data, but the lawyers prohibit them to do so out of fear of litigation by participants in case that employers or health providers would harm them, so they would be harmed by the fact that the personal genetic data is in public databases. And so the discussion led to the obvious conclusion that what is very strongly needed is legislation prohibiting misuse of genetic data. And I mentioned in a comment yesterday that in Israel we have such a law. In the US, this law is now in the making and hopefully will be enacted during this year because it already was approved by Senate. And I would like to open the discussion here if there is a role for UNESCO to play in making some global call to governments, to members in UNESCO, to prohibit misuse of genetic data by employers or by health insurance, so that data sharing can become more effective. In particular, data sharing from the private sector, because it means data, which I believe is the largest amount of genetic data today, at least in the West, is in private hands, in drug companies, and not in universities.
Since you mentioned UNESCO, yes, is prohibited, and unjust discrimination is also prohibited, because there are possible forms of discrimination which are in the interests of people, exceptions, but that works. But in essence, it is in the declaration form, but not in the Bible.
Apparently, it's not enough because it's prohibited. Drug companies are afraid to share the data.
I think what I'd like to ask the panel to make some response, and we're going to have to close the panel soon. So, would you like to respond?
As to genetic data, I think our government, the legislation in China, I think just need to improve this field. Thank you.
I think it's interesting that China has entered into recent agreements with certain
And Research and the Ministry of Health. It lead to some strict procedure to share those genetic data. And China has most biological diversity is very rich, and to protect our genetic resources, our government enact some laws and regulations over this program.
Well, I think this issue has been quite a provoking one, I think so. After listening to all the information, I think that's not an issue that cannot be solved. But first of all, we need to figure out why we need to care about this right now. Why not 10 or 20 years ago? All because of the genomic research project or the roadmap. And 20 years later, now we care more about the value of the tissue than ever. And the UK has to pass the law, even apply criminal sanction. Why? The genomic medicine development. And probably not just like this, because the so-called wellness market is kind of absorb all kind of the biotechnology fruits, and who can participate for that. So in terms, we need to care more about what's the value of all this so-called biomaterial. Certainly we need to define that or clarify the meaning of that. But on the other hand, just like I say, it shouldn't be the case, could not be solved, because if we are able to distinguish between the collaboration and the purely just the exploitation or just the one-way take advantage, I think the problem can be solved. Then we'll turn back to the Wall Street and all those international terms. We can take advantage of this biodiversity conventions approach, trying to fix the gap between the asymmetry between the developed and the less developed countries, because we cannot ignore what's behind the scene. We cannot say, because you have the DNA, so everything has been solved. We need to care about what's behind the scene, and not just the notification. Foundation for this kind of cooperation, and then we are able to convince the world that we can do this for the public good and not just for the private good. I think that's a long way to go, and probably something that UNESCO can start thinking about and work for, because it does mean something for the public good in the future, especially for our intergeneration justice or equity conservation. They deserve, our next generation deserve an advanced medical environment.
Thank you very much. We're going to have to stop the panel because we have to be out of the room by 7 p.m. Thank you very much for all the presentations. So that's the end of this session, and we will move to the final session. Professor Lee is going to take the chair. We have a couple of papers with her. Thank you.
Again, let me say I'm grateful for people still staying behind, for your patience and persistence again. Okay. Now let me give a very brief background of these two papers. Actually, this is how the results of our project on the guidelines for the stem cell research in Taiwan. Okay. There's two collections. One is that we have done it from the 8th of May, 8 May to 5 to May to 6, and we have report, preliminary report last September. Okay, today we have two papers. Actually, we have 3 papers originally, and because of the shortage of time, the organizers say that we should include could only have 2 papers. So I'm sorry to say that the report may not be showing the complete figure or feature of our project. But anyway, these 2 are the most important papers and would like to present here for your comment and suggestions. Now, our first paper is by Chien-Te and Chunyan. Lee, yeah, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, okay. Because Chai had left yesterday, day before yesterday, and we have Ms. Lee to give the report of the first paper on shaping social opinion on stem cell research in Taiwan.
This is Lee, a research assistant. I'm here to represent Professor Tsai, his research team for the questionnaire design on shaping social opinions on stem cell research in Taiwan. We discovered a better way to develop a social opinion survey through KAP model, which means knowledge, attitude, and practice. It's the concept in the field of popular health, and is distinguished from so-called quantitative research, general quantitative research. There's reasons we need to do social opinion survey in stem cell research are that it relates to healthy controversy on embryo living rights, social ethics, and human being values. We need to consider the perception and accept the two fundamental ethics and legal governance framework. Based on the characteristics of stem cell research, we got to be very careful for the questionnaire design on social opinion survey. We have conducted our questionnaire based on literature reviews, consensus meetings, as well as the test of reliability and validity. On literature review, we collect LC viewpoints on legislation of stem cell research in many countries, and quantitative research on social opinion survey in Taiwan. Here is an example of general quantitative research conducted by academia clinical in Taiwan. However, we took it as an example to determine the limits. Sure, Taiwan Genomic Survey by academic clinical has its contribution on stem cell research. However, a couple of limitations in their survey we have found. One is on their sampling toward all population directly. The other is on the various topics in one single survey. Here's the result from their research. Around 80% of population are not familiar with the stem cell in Taiwan. Only 2.3% of population really heard or highly understood the subject, which means most of Taiwan people have no idea on stem cell research. In their result, the higher education status, the better understanding on stem cell research. Here, 30% of population's education is in junior high or under, and about 80% of them never heard or not really understood the stem cell research. Here is a question, however, which group of people should we reach for a survey? The answers here for all 4 questions are supposed to be yes. However, the survey shows that the respondents failed in their understanding. No matter they understood or not, Taiwan people give the same respondents on how human stem cells function. From past 3 pages, we can determine that most Taiwan people don't have the knowledge or just have limited understanding on stem cell research. Therefore, how could we question their attitude based on their limited understanding. Since their samplings to world population in journal, therefore, the distinguished characteristics of stem cell research have been ignored. The multiple applications of stem cell are limited to be understood by the public. And a better understanding on stem cell research impacts on shaping public's attitude. Since most of the time people have limited understanding on stem cell research, we suggest to use selective sampling. Here, let me introduce our survey. We provide a new model, selective sampling, based on KAP model. Here is the target population in our research. For example, medical, academic experience such as professionals in medicine, philosophy, psychology, sociology, public health, etc., and legal professions, religion groups, civil servants, students, and even minded public who have been interested and involved in biotechnology. Samplings are either higher education or related to stem cell research. Since journal quantitative research concerns the education level the most, we suggest a target population to win the special opinions on a particular issue. Once again, let me remind you the limits of various topics in Taiwan Genomic Survey. Did the interviews really understand the differences? That's the question. Now, it might confuse and mislead respondents because of its complex concepts. Here's the example of two totally different topics in a single focus on medicine. Urban is long-term following in epidemiology, while stem cell research can be the application to medical technology. The former considers population's health and well-being. The latter concerns individuals' dignity, rights, and interests. A serious problem here is that stem cell research is easy to get involved in disagreement, and the controversy could impact the projects of Biobank, even though they are totally two different issues. So, after emphasis on the differences of journal quantitative stem cell research, here I'm going to introduce you the way standpoints in our research. The next step of questionnaire design will help as consensus meeting. In consensus meeting, we collect the main points on efficacy of stem cell research among communities and present the subjects they concern the most. We discuss the proper ethical and legal governance framework in stem cell research. We establish the link between communities through improvement strategy with their cooperative knowledge, and then to win the public's accurate understanding, attitude, and social opinions. Okay, jump to the conclusion. Okay, here is our content of questionnaire design. We have three parts. Part one is necessary and required to completely draw the opinion on the whole Taiwan society. Next, that's a solution to comprehend the opinions of leaders remains significant. Provide for further surveys with information such as the outcome of previous survey and the concern from the target population. The outcome of social opinion survey would be the prerequisite of ethical governance framework for stem cell research. Thank you. Any further questions, please comment and or suggestion, please feel free to keep contact us.
Thank you very much. We are losing time. I call upon the second speaker and he'll present the tutorial analysis of how to see. And unfortunately, because I'm in order that we have to clear this section by 10 minutes to 6. So I will give you 5 minutes.
Actually, I think I just have 5 minutes, so I will speak as quick as like a news report. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very thankful you still stay here. Okay, my name is Chien-Te. The topic of our talk is public opinion on stem cell research in Taiwan. The subtitle is Factor Analysis. This study not only did by me, but Ms. Tong also offer valuable help for this study. Our assignment in this research is to understand the public opinions on the stem cell research among people in Taiwan. Both questionnaire and the design and summary were based on the principle of developing a research of opinion on stem research by KAP model, just presented by Mr. Lee. There were 433 participants in my study, and most of the research addressed the educating is the big issue which affecting people's opinions on stem cell research. According to this reason, the participants were divided into 3 subgroups based on their educational background. It's below high school, college, and graduate school. In the survey, there are 17 items which are separated into 3 parts. Part 1 consists of 5 items about the function of stem cell research. Part 2 has 6 items about the products of stem cell research. Part 3 has 6 about the source of material for the stem cell research. Factor analysis was the statistics method used in my study to understand the relation among the function of products and the source of material for the stem cell research. Okay. And the method for factor analysis is okay. The iteration method used was principal component analysis, and the rotation method was the direct polymer with Kaiser normalization. Okay. Among the 4 groups, all chemos means the Kaiser-Meyer polychem major. Of the factor analysis were higher than 0.68. It indicated the result of factor analysis was statistically meaningful. 5 factors were identified in the response of each 4 groups. In each group, the total loading is ranged from 55% to 60% the opinion on stem cell research among different Taiwanese. Because we have time limitation, so I prepare a lot of numbers for everybody, but I don't have time to show them out. Okay. So let's go to the discussion. Based on the result of this analysis, the opinion on stem cell research of each group will compare. Take a look at this comparison chart. From this chart, we can easily to find 2 things. First, the type of factors in 4 different groups were the same. The only difference is this one. The factor 4 of the graduate school subgroup is on medical treatment, and medical treatment. This was probably because the people who had a graduate school education background were more knowledgeable about application of stem cell research. They knew the stem cell research targets genetic medical treatment. Second, the order of the agreement of stem cell research among all kind Taiwanese, which educated the people who does not have the college diploma. Therefore, the first implication is that based on the different opinion between the below high school and the whole group, we can create an education program to instruct people about the knowledge and the application of stem cell research. We study. Maybe I would like to use suggestion because implication too strong word. Is that we might have people who have college or higher education attend the committee about the while to avoid the loss of the opinion from the below high school group, the committee should also include experts about bioethics, science, and and the social science and the psychology. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your welcome. I think we have to close this section here now, and we would like to invite further questions tomorrow, maybe. I'm sorry to do that because we still have to leave Professor Mason. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we can have some questions maybe informally and also some tomorrow. We're going to leave this room now, and we're going to take the poster just outside the door so you can stand around the poster and see the poster. So thank you very much for a very tough day. You are survivors. So please, we take the poster outside, and then we're going to have a brief 5 to 10 minute discussion of a poster, of one poster on nursing. Move the poster outside.